afternoon. There's quite a few changes to the team. Just both hookers are replaced. So Chiliboy Relepele will start with Schalk Brits on the bench. Otherwise, the pack is the same. Then at 10, we've got Elton Yankees coming in, starting at 10 with Andre moving to the bench. Same number 9, 5 starting with Ambrose going to the bench. And then we have two new centers in Andre Esterhuizen and Jesse Krill, with both Lucanio and other guys out of the team. And then fullback, we've got Warwick starting at 15 with Willie on the bench. So the bench is basically Schalk Brits, Stephen Kitchoff, Thomas de Tooy, Jean-Luc de Pree, Sikumbuzi Noche, Ambrose Papier, Andre Porralt, and Willie Leroux.
Thank you, Rassie. So obviously the full squad, match the squad on our social media platforms, and we've sent it out on release. I have a limited number of copies here. If you want, you can collect it from me afterwards. First question to Rassie. Thank you.
Rassie, obviously a lot of changes to the back line, and how do you think the guys will go, just in terms of, is there going to be a disruption or not?
I hope it's not a big disruption. I think if you go and look at the 10, 12, 13, there's 4 changes in the back line. So if you go at the 10, 12, and 13, it's actually the 3 who started in the Welsh Test match in the States. So there shouldn't be a lack of understanding or rhythm there. And then Warwick is a guy that, he's been consistently knocking on the door and playing really well for the Bulls. I guess what Villagers had on him most of the time was experience. If you consider Cebu and Apuwe's experience of both only having 2 caps now, I was always nervous to have also a guy like Warwick who has 4 Test caps to with that back 3. At least they have 2 under their belt now, the wingers, and they've got a little bit of more experience with Warwick there. And obviously Jesse brings some 31 Test caps into the mix. So it's definitely a little bit of a risk, but we have to see how they do under pressure.
Rassie, Warwick and Elton in particular, I suppose there's a perception that they're better dry weather players. They like to sort of keep the ball in hand. The expectation is there's going to be wet weather this weekend. Did that ever factor into your thinking? Was this planning done?
The weather at this stage looked dry, so yesterday it still looked wet, and I think you guys know that you might have a wet next 3 days, but we might have a 80 minutes dry weather, so definitely we thought about that, and the more we got into that, the more we just ran ourselves up a wall and couldn't see what would be the right answer. So I think the best thing would be to put these guys in there. We might get some rain in the World Cup, and if they want to be in the World Cup squad, they must prove themselves to handle wet weather, pressure, lots of crowd noise, different referees, lots of other factors. So yes, we did think about that, but at the end we thought, no, let's give these guys a chance.
Rassie, were you tempted to make more changes under the pack, or do you feel that they need that experience?
On the pack, I think Stephen Kitchoff is probably close to deserving a start. He's definitely not second best, if I can call it that way. I think him and Beast are really going toe to toe at Lucet. I still feel Thomas is growing into a starting tight head. I think it's working well the way we're integrating him into the team now. Obviously, a guy like Schalk Brits, we know what he has. Just more of a not a moral, but a decision in the sense of team environment and culture. I think it would be very unfair for guys only trained with us 7-8 days to put him straight into the starting lineup. So yes, there was a temptation to get him in the mix in the starting lineup, but I feel that wouldn't have been fair towards Chile. And then I thought whenever Jean-Luc and Sikumbuzi came onto the field, they really had impact, so we kept that the same. Ambrose, I'm very excited by. He's the kind of guy when the games opens up, maybe not so much in the wet weather, but so we wanted to make some more changes, but hell, you don't make 11 changes in a test match squad, that's a bit far-fetched, so I think this is probably the maximum we could make.
But I think this still within Chile's situation. He's been around for quite a long time, and he hasn't started much, but I'm sure you've got a reason for selecting him.
There's a few guys like that. Bongi didn't start much. Bongi didn't start a game 40 minutes before we selected him for the Springbok team. Ambrose hasn't played for the Bulls consistently off the bench there, and as I said from the beginning, I want to make sure that we are committed to transformation and that we are committed to what we set out we're going to do. And we want to be sure, we want to be sure as we build towards the World Cup, which guys can definitely make it under pressure. This is going to be a pressure test match. The English will be very, very up for this one and would like to get pride back in this test match at Newlands capacity crowd. Chile won't be under more pressure and line out down in scrum time than in this one, and it's always nice if a guy like him comes through this test match, there's another one we can take to the World Cup. So some guys didn't have a lot of game time. I mean, Chile played and then Akker played and then Chile played for the Sharks. So I think if you go and look at their minutes, they actually played about even. But yes, it's a good platform to test a few guys.
And also Skull coming off the bench, his knowledge of the English score. So some of those guys he played a few weeks ago.
Yes, he definitely knows them well, and Farrell the captain and George the hooker, and I told you there's a lot of guys that he knows well. But on the flip side, they know him really well. So I guess they would know if he has weaknesses, they would know his weaknesses also. But overall, it's a nice occasion. The whole thing at Skulk. Now, if he retires after this, it's at Newlands where he started. If he doesn't, it's wonderful, and we see how long we can keep him going. If we can, we do need him to the World Cup. So overall, a exciting, fitting way to get Skulk into the mix.
Are you confident Skulk could play 80 minutes if Chile's injured in the first minute?
Yeah, without a doubt. No, I promise you. He's probably after 4 hookers here the fittest.
Rassie, I know you mentioned Warwick earlier and saying that he had the experience of him. But what do you hope to see from Warwick this weekend? He had a couple of opportunities. He made his first debut at wing, but now at Newlands could be a bit wet as well.
Yes, we all know what he can do with ball in hand. And I think you guys who analyse the game closely will see his clearance kicking is excellent. I mean, I think he's only had about 4. Most of the others he runs back, but he's had some wonderful clearing kicking from his own 22, very accurate and always to the other side of the halfway line. So I've got no doubt, and he's left and right footed, which is you don't get it so often nowadays at this level for some reason, but he can do it with both feet. And the nice thing is, if it's wet, we'll learn a lot about him. If it's dry, I think we'll have a typical Warwick Holland play. If it's wet, we'll see how he handles it, and if he doesn't handle it well, we'll go afterward and work on it and get him better at it. If we have to change him in the game, Willie is there who knows wet weather, we can put him on. But hopefully, if it's wet, he swims well and he does well. And if he doesn't, we'll fix it after the game.
Rassie, just a word on Andre Esterhuizen as well and what you hope to see from him.
I think even Damien is very similar type of player. One's got a left foot Andre can kick a little bit of his left foot a little bit better. He's about 10 kilogram heavier than Damien. But they're very much a similar type of players and bring some grunt and being direct and great defenders and momentum and stuff to the game. They do have subtle changes in the game with offloaders and a guy like Damien tends to take the outside gap a little bit more. So I think Andre definitely brings something else to the party, but I think we are privileged to have 2 players like that and a few others who bring you that. I mean, there's still a guy like Ruan at the Lions. There's even Pollard who can still play 12. Even if you think overseas, a guy like Patrick Lambley who can play 10-12 for you. Damien Willems at 10-12. Frans Steyn 10-12. So we have to find that solution on that 10, 12, 15 position going forward. So I think Andre and Damien is probably fighting really hard for one of those 31-man World Cup spots.
On that point, is Jan Serventijn still in the thinking?
Yes, he's in the thinking. He's just injured at this stage, so we couldn't.
Another one who can complicate that.
Well, yeah, it's another one that one can consider. You're definitely right, Peter. He's an option.
Rassie, what are your thoughts on Embrah Topi and what he can bring to the game?
Ambrose is lightning fast. He's probably one of the fastest players in the team, you know. And with that, I include Apiwe and Sabu and Jesse and everybody. He's lightning fast. He can speed up the game. Obviously, he's got some at his age. He's got some work-ons in terms of his passing and his box kicking. He tackles really well. He understands the defensive system really well, and he's a natural attacker. And I think what Mitch has done with him at the Bulls, he's just, you know, he's given him a Super Sport Challenge game, then off the bench for the Bulls, then a Super Sport Challenge game, then a start for the Bulls. So I think the way he's been grooming him for international rugby has helped us a lot. But for sure, he's going to make some mistakes tomorrow. But definitely a lot of energy and speed and enthusiasm, if I can call it that.
So you mentioned the box Faf, in both the matches that he played, he was accurate in that aspect. And that is obviously in Mayweather is what you're looking at, to have those accurate kicks, especially from the base.
You mean if Faf going to do it again?
If Faf plays, that is his strong point.
Yes. I think he's got that strength, because he has that Lions mindset when he played under Swayze, which is just running and quick tapping and passing and getting the game going. But now a season in England in that weather, same with Willie, you could see, you know, Willie was always just running for fullback, but now his tactical kicking is better and his aerial skills is better, and I think so those were few of the reasons why we brought him back. You know, they have that extra bit which some of our South African players still has to learn, which they're doing very quickly. They're really getting it under the belt really quickly. But hopefully Faf again tomorrow manages the game the same.
Rassie Elton was left out altogether last week. You know, got 4 minutes of prevention in the first test, and now he starts. Just can you give us a little more of your thinking around the role that Elton's been playing in the squad?
Yeah, Elton had 76 minutes in the first test against Wales. And then, you know, it's seldom that you in a game change your fly-offs. It's always been one of my philosophies. If a fly-offs keep on making decisions, even if it's wrong, you keep him on the field because he's making decisions, he's not hiding. And probably one of my mistakes there against the Wales in the States, where I subbed Elton and put on Robert, was probably a mistake. I don't often think you should sub your 10 if your 10 is making decisions. And yeah, the calculated risk last week was in terms of Sabu in his second test, and Nkosi in his, Apiwe in his second test, and Warwick who's only played 2 test matches, and Lukanu only in his second test. I was more worried because the previous game the guys cramped and they made some defensive and individual errors. So it just made more sense for me last week to put a guy like Jesse on who can cover 13 and wing for you, and Warwick on the bench who can cover a wing and 15 for you. Just because of the youth and the inexperience of those players, and because they cramped the previous game. And then, you know, as I say, don't change your 10 unless he's really having a terrible game. And we had guys like Willie and Faf who can cover for us there. Alton is playing behind a very good pack now with a very good 9, and some outside backs that he's played with before. So I think this is a very, very fair chance for him.
Carl? Carl?
Me first.
Go.
I coach. England announced their side. Cipriani starts, Marler's in, and Hughes. How do you think England will be as an attacking proposition with Cipriani at 10 in comparison to George Ford there?
Chatting to Willie, who plays with him at the same club, who did play with him at the same club, you know, it was him and Beale and Cipriani. They were wonderful players in the same team. And you know, Willie will tell you he's learned so much from Cipriani, just in the way of attack and running lines and picking the right options really late and those kind of things. So I think we'll be tested. Again, you know, it depends what the weather is like. You know, maybe the weather doesn't allow you to play that way. But he's a wonderful player. You know, even when he stint at the Rebels and all over where you follow him, he's always a little bit of a naughty one. But he tends to bring wonderful rugby to the defense, and we'll have to manage that where we weren't great at stages during this first 2 test matches. So no, he'll test us definitely, and with what's his name on his inside, on his outside, Farrell, I think it's going to be a real test for our backs to even with his kicking game, he's very accurate with that. So I think it's going to be tougher for us with him there.
We switch to Afrikaans, thank you. Great.
Rassie, just a quick summary of the changes that you made, why you made them, and some of the conditions, obviously, with the wet weather possibly that you have to take into contention.
In Afrikaans. Ja, die enigste verandering in die span is maar basies op hakker waar ons die weet vir Chili Boy ingebring het om te start en dan vir Skalk van die bank af waar ons vir Bongie en vir Akker 'n rus gee wat nou baie speeltyd gekry het en gewys het wat hulle het. Verder is die pak min of meer dieselfde of 100% dieselfde. In die agterlyn lyk dit soos baie veranderinge, maar die veranderinge is maar basies die twee centers in die losskakel, Elton, Andre en Jesse wat saam gespeel het teen Wallis in Amerika. En dan die ander een is Warwick wat seker lankal al klop aan die deur. Ons was maar altyd maar net versigtig om Warwick wat 4 toetse het of 3 toetse het, saam met Lucanio wat 1 toets het en Simbu wat 1 toets het en Apiwe wat 1 toets het, was dit maar net bietjie risky om hulle saam te speel. So ons het die hele tyd vir Willie daar ingedruk. Oor die reeks nou basies beklink is, alhoewel ons 100% gaan om hierdie een te wen, voel ons is die tyd nou waar ons 'n paar manne kan toets en kyk hoe hulle regkom. En wat die weer aan betref, soos jy vra, ons verwag of dit gelyk of dit gaan reën die hele week. Dit lyk nou nie meer so 100% seker of dit gaan reën in die game nie. So ja, dit gaan 'n deeglike toets wees vir Warwick en die manne om te sien weet hoe gaan dit in die nat weer en indien dit droog is, weet ons dat Warwick kan bring na die party toe. En dan obviously die ander een waaroor ek nie gepraat het nie is Ambrose Papier, wat ek dink 'n regte X-factor speler is wat nie baie mense ken nie, wat ongelooflik baie spoed en entoesiasme en tempo in die game inbring, so baie exciting.
Rassie, is jy tevrede dat jy genoeg spelers kanse gee met die veranderinge wat jy nou ook maak om te sê dis 'n positiewe die toetse gewees?
Ja, luister, ons sou graag die eerste toetse wou gewen het teen Wallis. Ongelukkig het ons nou nie. So daar's ek dink 16 of 17 nuwe caps gewees, ouens wat nou dit is nie een ou op die span wat nou nie kan sê hy het nog nie toets gespeel nie. Jy weet dit help klaar as jy sit daar in 'n team talk en jy sit vir jou die eerste keer en luister en senuweeagtig om die anthem te sing en al daai goeters, jy weet, hy het dit al ervaar, hy's bietjie meer gemaklik en hy ouens wat daar gespeel het sal vir jou vertel hier van toets 5, 6 af begin jy so bietjie normaal raak. Dit is maar altyd moeilik tot en dan. Ek is jammer ek kon nie ou soos Marvin Orrie meer speeltyd gee nie, Robert meer speeltyd gee nie, Dan de Pre, Oupa Mahoje. Daar's 'n hele paar ouens uit die groep van ek dink wat 41 was in die begin. Voel ek omtrent so 38 van hulle het proper speelkans gekry. Ongelukkig weet met die game time is daar net 4 toetse. So, maar ek dink die seisoen is nog lank en ons gaan nog baie ons se knoppies druk.
Dankie Rassie. Dankie everyone.